Hi everyone, welcome back to another Cut Above with Chris. First shave back in Australia on video, at least not my first shave, but as you can see I've got quite a few days growth. I've actually got 4 or 5 days growth. I've had a few days off work and I've had to really come to grips with jet lag for the first time in my life. Obviously, I think the older you get, the more you sort of struggle recovering from things like that, and being on such a exhausting trip. It was a great trip, phenomenal trip with the wife in Canada and then Scotland as well, but it was exhausting and it's taken its toll on me. So I'm finally back on a bit of a level keel. Now the shave today is a return to Barrister and Mann Terra. As you guys know if you watch the channel, I did use this whilst I was in Canada. It was my first shave on the channel whilst out of the country. So I'm going to return to that today. I know it's not really stretching out there with everything else that I bought, but I want to try this with a bit more water on a good brush and see what I can get from it. So the soap for today is going to be this, Barrister and Mann Terra. Little label up here, red label. It's also on the splash as well, and it says caution, extremely cold, keep away from eyes and anything else that you would prefer not to freeze. You have been warned. Now personally when I use this, I love the scent, the performance is exceptional, but the actual cold feeling wasn't that great. Now I've spoken with Will over at Barrister and Mann. He has said add more water. The water is really what gives it that cold sensation. So I'm doing a cold water shave today. I'm going to really hydrate this lather today, and I'll be using DE razor on my head and on my neck. I'll be using the Karve on my neck. I'll probably use the DE that I'm using for my head on my cheeks as well, which is the above the Tie Calypso. So that's the soap. The brush for today is my beautiful Forsyth brush, another Cut Above with Chris. 26mm black and white knot. It's not a tuxedo knot, but it is pretty soft. It's nice, it's very dense. And I've used this quite a bit and you can see the knot still looks absolutely brand new. Beautiful, beautiful brush. So without further ado, let's get stuck in to loading the brush. So, oh god, the scent just pops out now. I'm still suffering just now with sort of nasal blockages and sore throats, and it just wasn't really good when I was on holiday. Thankfully it didn't make me feel sick, it just affected my sinuses and things, so I've still got it now, so I apologise if I'm a bit coughy and spluttery and stuff, but I'll see how we go. Oh god, the scent on this. Now there's no menthol scent to this, it just smells to me, believe it or not, like a fizzy gin and tonic. That's the scent I get from it. So if you like gin and tonic, I think you'll probably like this. I mean, it's not pure gin and tonic, it's almost like a pink gin, but it's got a little bit of fruitiness through it and it's really, really nice. A little bit woodsy, a little bit floral, but it's lovely. So here we go, straight on there with the brush. Now this is Barrister and Mann's latest formula, which is the Excelsior. I've never used it with cold water, obviously. I use it with warm water in Canada. And I haven't used it with a big knot. It's just sort of spilling out, the knot's sort of struggling to hold on to it for some reason. Let me just put this down this way. Now one thing with this base is I don't know whether you sort of load it heavy or not, but I'm going to load it heavy anyway, because it is a head and a face shave, or head and a neck shave. I want to make sure I've got enough suds in the brush. Oh god, that scent is superb. I've just got a little bit of that on my hand there and it's extremely slick. I've dropped some into the cold water and it's also dissipating the cold water. It's like hit the water and then just... How'd that get in? Right, let's wet my head. I've just had a shower. Cold water on the head. Had a shower about 20 minutes ago. Let's just paint this on. So this is cold water, and over here in Australia at the moment it really is cold water. Generally our cold water is like lukewarm in the summer. Right, just dip the tips now. Let's just see what we can build. can feel some cooling already, partly the cold water, but it does feel like it's actually cold on the skin. The one great thing with this is you don't get that menthol burn in the eyes. Excuse me. Scent strength's really good for this type of soap. It's nice to get a mentholated soap that isn't minty and it isn't citrus. I've got about, I don't know, I think about 7 days growth on my head. So it'll be nice to get that knocked down and chopped away. Right, let's just add some more water. I'm just going to keep adding. That's what Will said to do, so let's just keep doing it. The lather doesn't seem to be getting aerated, if anything it's getting thicker. Definitely, I think even just on this use so far, what I'm doing now, definitely better than the glissant base and leaps and bounds ahead of the reserve base. The reserve base for me is good, very slick, difficult to lather, and I like to think that I'm reasonably good at creating a lather these days. Now I'm starting to get that cooling sensation on my head, very minimal at the moment. It's still not anything that I would say is extremely cold. God, look at that. Look how dense that lather is. Creamy and glossy. Oh, I got the shakes this morning, I tell you what. Yeah, this lather is absolutely exceptional. Look at that. I mean, I can't even really see an air bubble in that. It is so dense. Look at how sort of very much like a wet meringue whip. I'm going to stick with that. I tell you what, it's one of the best lathers I've ever made. That is absolutely sensational. Wow, just incredible. But of course, a lather can look amazing and not shave very well. One thing I will say about this base, God, look at that, wow. Beautiful scent. Well over Barrister and Mann creates, in my opinion, some of the best scents in the business. And I can't even remember his name, but tallow and steel up there as well with that type of scent. Excuse me, I'm starting to get blocked up again. Okay, the razor of choice for today is the Above the Tie Calypso R1. So that's the regular head, aluminium. Now I have used the stainless R1. I didn't get on with it very well. Picked this one up, superb. It's got the blue base cap, sort of grey top cap, and a nice grippy handle. The actual grip that's on this handle is absolutely brilliant. Really is. Really, even when it's wet you can't really lose grip of it, even with a bit of lather on it. Now, the blades, this is a new thing to the den. This was very kindly gifted to me from Kevy Shaves. He gave me a couple of packs of these. I don't know whether they're 5 or 10 in here, I'm not sure. Perma Sharp Stainless Supreme. Now these are made in Kilbride, I believe. So it says made in Great Britain, just here. But I believe these are made in Kilbride in Scotland. 5 blades it says on here. It's got a little blade dispenser on the back. Now what I find with vintage blades is if they're good, they last a long time. Sorry about that, I just had to pop away for a minute to sort myself out. I might have to just rehydrate this a little bit while it's sat on my head talking a lot of shit about this. So that's the blade package. Now, when I opened these up, I was a little bit upset. Not upset, but I thought, oh shit, it's going to be fucked. So there's the paper. As you can see, big rust mark. There's bits of rust sort of all over this paperwork, mainly right in the middle. The second blade doesn't look quite as bad. This is the top blade. Now, when I pulled it out, as you can see, the blade itself, it's got a bit of rust in the middle. I've had a real good look at the edges, and I can't see really any rust on the edges of the blades. There's a little tiny bit of discoloration, but it looks alright. Not a great idea to shave if you've got a rusty blade edge, but these look pretty good, so I'm just going to load that into the razor. Jesus, I'm shaking like mad here. I've only had one coffee right enough, so it could be that. So yes, I met up with Kevy Shaves at the Gentleman's Groom Room with Ian at the Gentleman's Groom Room. Had an absolute blast with those guys. I think we chatted for a good two and a bit hours, I think, before I left. Just on time, before the parking inspectors got to my car. But brilliant, what a beautiful shop. I'll pop some photographs up of the shop and some of the items that are in there. I didn't buy much when I was there. I'd pretty much exhausted all funds. So you have a look at what he's actually got up for sale, and there's a few photographs of me, Kevy and Ian, and a couple of me and Kevy, and then just out the front of the shop. So I'll pop them up now. And then get stuck into the head shave. So I'm going to go with the grain, against the grain, old school way, the way I used to do it, rather than just going directly with against the grain. Now I will say something, this coolness, because it's sat on my head for a while, is starting to really accentuate. I'm starting to really feel the cold. It's not ice cold like wintergreen from Sterling, but it's getting there, it's getting there. It's starting to cool quite a lot. I think the second lather is going to be ice cold, hopefully, and we'll see. But it's not extreme so far. So here we go, with the grain. Hopefully this blade's nice. Wow. Hot knife through butter. And that lather is just exceptional. It really is. I think we might have a new king of the lather in the den, a new base king. Kevy, I don't know whether you've used, well, you probably won't even watch this video. I don't know whether you've used these blades yet, but that is exceptionally smooth. Right, I'm just going to go against the grain here. And against the grain behind my ear as well. I just find that it just works better. For some reason, don't ask me why, because I can't answer it. If I go with the grain down the back of my ear like that, I end up cutting my behind on my actual neck, and I don't know why it happens. I must just get the angle wrong for some reason at that part. I'm using very little pressure here. You do have to use pressure. You watch a lot of YouTube videos out there and people say no pressure. No pressure at all. Well, if you don't put any pressure on it, you're not going to cut anything, it'll just bounce off all your hairs. You have to put enough pressure to get the blade to your skin, and the weight of the razor determines that amount of pressure. This razor is all aluminium, very light, therefore you need a little bit more pressure than you would with an all stainless. For obvious reasons that the stainless is in fact heavier. Same again on this side. This blade's beautiful, it's so smooth. Right, now I'm encountering, and I don't know whether it's because I have not hydrated the lather enough. You probably just see in the corner, well you will see, hold on, focus, just in this corner here, there is a little bit of soap stuck in there, so it's not going to hamper the shave, but because you're using cold water, sometimes there's so much oils in the soap, the cold water just cannot melt it away. So that's the first time it's happened in this shave, so it might just have been a one-off. The rest of the time it's been absolutely fine. Now I can tell you one thing straight off the bat with this soap. It's extremely slick and it's got amazing residual slickness. It's holding onto that lather just under the blade. That's it, it's out now. I don't know why in particular this razor has lasted so long in my den. It's such a nice smooth shaver. Very, very efficient. Without being overly aggressive. If you use a nice light touch with it, you'll get amazing results. You really will. Yeah, it's rinsing out pretty good now. I don't know whether it's on the camera or not, but just over to my left shoulder, which will look, I think on the camera, well, I don't know how it'll look on the camera, but there's a little set of barber mirrors. There's a little set of shaving cabinet mirrors. I always angle one towards my head and it works really, really well. So right now, I'm looking in the mirror into the other mirror and I can see the back of my head, all the bits that I miss. Wasn't planned like that, that was just a sheer fluke. Yes, you can see, just again, it's just clogging up a little bit. Like I say, I'll just use that clog side now just to see if it actually makes a difference. Which it doesn't. Right, sink is chock-a-block full of hair. Let's get that rinsed out. I'm going to run a little bit of hot water through the razor. There we go. Right, one thing I'm noticing straight away with this soap is it doesn't stick to your sink like a lot of other soaps does in terms of actually staining the sink with soap scum. So that's not happening, which is good. Back to the cold water, fill the sink back up. Let's see if this cold water activates the cooling sensation. Now my head feels cold, but it doesn't feel ice cold like it would with Sterling Glacier. The residual is there everywhere and it feels quite slick. So this one is going to be against the grain, but let's just get lathered up first. Now as soon as I put that on my head there, it was instantly cold. So it's a synthetic coolant that is in this soap. It's not menthol. It doesn't smell anything like menthol. There's no menthol scent in here. The great thing with it is, I think when you smell this soap, all you smell is the actual smell of the soap. So it's quite ingenious, albeit it's artificial. That was quite a big dip of water to stick in for a second lather. But it is absolutely gobbled up. I thought that would have struggled with that there. Oh yeah. I think we might be looking at possibly my new favourite base, which is crazy really considering how good all the bases are coming out now. That's awesome. That's lathering so nice. Right, against the grain, same razor. With the vintage Perma sharp blade, made in the UK, made in Great Britain, sorry. But more specifically, made in Kilbride in Scotland. Wow. A little weep at there. That's to be expected. I haven't done a full, well, sorry, I actually did a full head shave with the Karve whilst I was in Canada. That was very, very good. I'm just going to dip my fingers and just use a bit of this residual slickness just to see how good it is. Very, very slick silk. Really impressed. And that is pretty much BBS. There's a couple of little bits here and there. I'm not going to chase that dragon with a DE razor. It's been a long time since I've really used one, and especially this one. It's not aggressive, very efficient. Excellent shave. Now, does that feel colder than last time when I was in Canada? Yeah, it does. It definitely feels colder now that I've hydrated that lather. But it is by no means extremely cold. So it's a bit of, I don't know whether it's from Will, it's a little bit of advertising. Extremely cold, and then people are like, what, are you trying that? Which, to be fair, was the reason why I desperately wanted to try it. Luckily, or thankfully, the scent is amazing. Post shave's amazing, the performance is amazing, the lather's amazing. Everything about this soap is superb, and the cooling is great. It's really nice. It's certainly a cooling you could use in everyday shaves without any issues. That post shave though is just off the charts. It's so good, and I find that with all three Barrister and Mann bases. Right, next shave. But what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to wet this razor, and I know this will go against the grain for a lot of people, but these parts of my cheek, I don't see the point in lathering them up for what they are. I just do them with a dry razor blade on dry skin, well not dry, just a wet razor blade on dry skin, so you'll have to excuse me for breaking all protocol here. one side done. This side's always a bit harder. Right, and there we go. So that's the cheeks done. Apologies for how I did it, but it works. It never gets BBS obviously, but it looks better than it did before. Right, I've just split apart the razor and I'm going to be using the Karve Christopher Bradley razor now for my neck shave. And this has got the C plate back on it. It came all the way to Canada with me, the C plate, but it's back on its 3-inch handle. I thought I was using the C plate last week because it felt very smooth for work, but I wasn't. I was actually using the A plate, or the double A plate, so say smooth, I mean really mild. So the C plate is on and I'm just switching that blade straight into the C plate of the Karve. So that's the same blade that I've just used on my head shave, the Perma Sharp Stainless Supreme. Wow, that post shave feel is phenomenal. It's so good, it really is. So fill up the sink with cold water again. Right, my neck. Now this might be a little bit tuggy, I don't know, we'll see how good this blade really is. Because obviously I've been out the shower for a bit, I've got a lot of growth here, like 4 or 5 days growth, 5 days growth. So here we go. Now this brush is far too big for just doing neck shaves, and I found the wee Scott, which I recently acquired from the gentleman's groom room, is pretty much the perfect size brush for a neck shave. So if you've got a big beard and you just shave your neck, that brush is absolutely spot on. The lather's just disappeared a little bit. I'm just going to dip the tips, just roll it back on top of the soap again, very quickly. That's it. Let's see what we can do here. Let's build a bit of a lather, try and soften up the bristles a little bit, even though it's cold water. I've actually watched quite a few videos lately. I've commented on a few, but I've watched more than I've commented on. I don't know why I don't just comment on them while I'm there. Don't want to lose the lather. That'll do me. So I'm feeling the cold on my neck, probably a little bit more than I did on my head, and it's probably because I don't know, maybe the nerve endings are closer to the skin, I don't know. You can see the beard through that lather. It's not a super dense, voluminous lather like I had on my head. I seem to struggle, I really struggle creating a big lather just by way of lathering on my neck. What was I talking about there? Memory's absolutely screwed. I do apologise. I don't remember it all. I know someone will be like, you were talking about that. Why did you finish your story? Well, Karve Christopher Bradley razor with a Perma Sharp Supreme. First pass, C plate 0.85 blade gap. And here we go. Well, that was really nice. There was one tug here where it sort of jumped a little bit, but other than that, that's whipped all that off really easily. You can see how much lather the beard holds. I've got a shit ton in here. That's probably where all the volume went, into my beard. Wow. Really slick soap. Let's lather up again. Well, yeah, definitely getting that lovely cool now. Now, on a face lather, I do believe this would feel a lot colder. You've obviously got a lot of nerves in your cheeks and stuff like that, so you'd certainly feel that cold more. I'm feeling it more on my neck than I do on my head. My head actually still feels a little bit cold. It does have a longer effect. It's not like menthol that dissipates and evaporates and disappears or absorbs and disappears. It seems to sit there on your skin, so if it rains outside and I walk outside and it rains on my head, it cools your head down straight away. You can feel that cold from the synthetic coolant. Problem being is, if it runs down your head and into your eyes, it fucking burns. It really burns, so that's obviously the caution part of don't get it in your eyes. That's the bit he's on about, because it ain't pleasant when it's in your eyes. Menthol goes away very quickly if you get it in your eyes. This stuff doesn't. If anything, it gets a lot worse and you have to rinse it a little bit. Right, sort of against the grain now. This blade is wonderful. Forgot how good that C plate was, I really did. That is super close, super comfortable, super efficient. Well done, Chris, over at Karve Razors. Now, if you're not aware, if you send Karve a message now, they'll get back to you pretty quick. Jack from the Virtual Groom Room on YouTube, another shaving channel. He's not got a massive following as yet, but he's got a very good channel. He's a very good presenter of shaving products, he sure is. But he is now the customer service guy for Karve. I don't know whether he does extra things, but he's the customer service guy for Karve. And I've been in touch with him lately. The plan is to try and do a live shave together, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Right, now that is a little bit squint. Let's just that's it. It's funny how that side of my beard seems to always grow down quicker. But as you can see, the beard actually at the moment is starting to really tidy up. It's obviously got a few strays which I'll be snipping off soon. Other than that, it's starting to straighten out a bit. Believe it or not, I've been blow drying it. Don't laugh. Blow drying it with a Missy's hairdryer, and it's really helped straighten this out a bit because I was getting some real big curves and curls in here. And we're back. Sorry again, I just keep getting clogged up and I don't want to sit and blow my nose on the camera. It's not really that nice. Yeah, so what was I talking about? I can't fucking remember. My memory is absolutely dreadful. Oh yeah, blow drying it. So it's straightened out a lot, so it actually makes it look a lot neater inside here. I am aiming to get this sort of down to a point, which I've still got about that much growth to go, I think. Down to a point, see how I feel about it, and it'll probably come off for the summer. But I'm still enjoying it. It's way more work than shaving. So the guys out there that are like, you can't have a shaving channel and then grow a beard, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is way worse. than just shaving my face. Trust me, I'd rather just shave my face. There's way more time involved. I've got to try and line up these two bits here, which they're not too far away. This one needs a little bit more of a chop, but I'll do that off camera. You've got to try and keep this line straight. You've got to go to the barbers and keep it trimmed or trim it yourself. Luckily, for me to go and get a quick trim, it cost me $10, so it cost me literally nothing. I've known the barber for 12 years down here, and he looks after me, so it doesn't cost me much for him just to hit it with the clippers and trim it in a little bit, shape it a little bit. But yeah, anyway, it's enough talking. I'm going to rinse this brush out. Now I've just rearranged all my brushes in the den. If you watch my den video, which I just released a couple of days ago, all those brushes now are in order of pretty much synthetic natural hair, as best I could, with the plan being that I'm going to run through all my brushes in a cycle. So I'm not going to walk in and go, oh, what brush do I want to use today? I'm going to use the next brush in the line. It takes away that element of, oh, I don't know if I want to use that today, or shall I use this one, or, oh, you know, when you've got so many brushes, it becomes a bit of a nightmare, and you feel like you neglect some of them. You know, they become part of the family. So you've got to get your use out of them. So I've rinsed that out, flicked it out really hard on the towel, and it looks exactly like it did before I used the brush. It's really important that you get all that soap out, especially if it's a natural hair brush, not so much synthetic. Synthetic you can get it the next time, as long as it's not sat in there for a long time. And with that quick, it probably takes about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, just rinsing it, flicking it out hard. It makes such a difference. Right, Barrister and Mann, Terra Splash, same logo, and there is the ingredients list if you want to have a little peek at the ingredients. Now this smells exactly like the soap, works really well. Barrister and Mann's post shave just from the soap's exceptional. I mean, I couldn't honestly say that you would really need a post shave splash, but when you've got it, bloody use it. So here we go, 1, 2, just a good splash of that on my hands. Oh God, it's a beautiful burn. There is a nice sort of residual oiliness to it. So I'm getting a bit of the cooling, not heaps and heaps, but I'm getting a bit of it. It's nowhere near the extreme cold. Honestly, if you've never tried a mentholated soap and you want to try what would be a mentholated soap that I think most people could bear, then I would definitely recommend this. This is by no means an extreme cold soap or extreme cold splash. It's a beautiful cooling sensation. If anything, probably it's a nicer sensation than what you get from menthol. Menthol can be a bit burny and a bit stingy. There's absolutely no burn from the cooling sensation in this soap or splash. It's just a gorgeous cooling sensation. One thing, just want to highlight as well, one thing I love about Barrister and Mann is he goes that extra mile. These are printed on the bottle. Now, that's going to cost money no matter how you look at it. I don't know whether it's done, it's most likely done in-house now, he probably has his own stuff, but that's quite an expense. And these splashes aren't any more than really anything else out there. In fact, they're cheaper than Australian Private Reserve, and I think they're cheaper than Noble Otter as well. So they're really well priced for what they are. See, right now my head and my neck don't really feel too much cooling, if I'm honest. As soon as I touch it, it's ice cold. It seems to react. It seems to activate the cool on the head. But post shave is absolutely off the charts brilliant. It really is. Probably the best post shave I've had from a product. Now that I'm back home and I've used it to its full extent, it is superb. The brush for today, as I've just shown you, was my Tony Forsyth, another cut above. It's got TF custom brushes in there on the razor blade, and I can't even remember the Space Odyssey. It's a Space Odyssey. Is the actual colour of this blank. Now I think you can still get these. The blanks themselves are actually made in Western Australia, where I live, about an hour and a half north of me, and the guy that makes them is called the Master Caster. And to be fair, that's an exceptional cast and a beautiful shaped handle as well. The razor blade today was a vintage stainless Perma Sharp Supreme, which performed exceptionally well in both razors. Super sharp, super smooth, super efficient. And there it is in the Karve anyway. It's in the Karve razor there. C-plate, 0.85 blade gap for the next shave. And I don't even think I got a weeper. I don't think that's a weeper, it might be. But what a beautiful, comfortable shave. And the head was shaved with the Calypso from above the tie. This is the R1 variant, which is the irregular, so it's not aggressive and it's not mild, which I think is M and H. H for heavy, M for mild, R for regular. And the R1, which is the solid bar. The R2, I think, is the open comb. So this is a solid bar, R1, beautiful razor. Not a lot of weight to it, solid aluminium, anodized, absolutely beautiful. Shaves so smoothly for me. And that's a BBS head shave, or as close to. There's a couple of little bits, but you can't feel them when you go in with the grain. Just feels amazing. And in the next shave, and what a phenomenal post shave feel. It really is top draw. Just from the soap alone, it is as good as most post shave balms and things. If you've had a bad shave and you use that, that's what it feels like. You get these little strays chopped off. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much to Kevy for the blades. Thanks very much to Carmine, who I met at top of the chain and bought this set from. And I'm really happy that I got it. I didn't think I would get it, but I'm really happy that I did. And yeah, just huge thanks to everyone else for just coming along and watching and hopefully enjoying the shave with me. I don't know whether you've learned anything from it, but I certainly learned that that is pretty much my favourite base now, and I would put that just ever so slightly on top of Noble Otter. Very similar, but just on top. What more can I say about it? Stay safe, drive safe, don't drink and drive, and I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.